All right, good morning, everybody. My name is Lana Karazi. Welcome to your yin practice. So this morning we will be focusing on asanas or poses that are going to target the inside hip or the inside inner thigh and then the outer hip. So to get started, we're going to come lie on our back. Today, all you might need is some blocks. If you'd like a cushion or something, you can use that as your props today. So we're gently going to lie ourselves down into a reclined butterfly pose. So from here, bringing the soles of the feet together and then just softening into that upper back. Open the arms nice and wide with the palms up. If you would like to use some props or some cushions, you can slide them under the knees for some support. You'll notice that if you're especially tight in the inner thigh region, putting that support under the knees is just going to help it to loosen. So now either starting with the arms lengthened or bringing one hand on the lower belly and one hand on the heart space. I'm going to take the first few moments here to connect with the body. Maybe just scanning from the bottom of the feet up to the top of the head. Noticing any tight areas that we're feeling. And when you find that first area of tightness, breathing in through the nostrils and into that space, and then exhaling any tension, any tightness, and releasing those toxins that the body is holding on to. So deliberately inhaling a little deeper this time, and then exhaling with an open mouth. Just noticing how that body relaxes deeper into your mat when you do that. One more deep cleansing breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through that open mouth. And then just returning back to that natural breath cycle. Following that breath into the body, feeling the rise of the belly and the fall of the belly. Got that hand placed on the belly, just feeling the pressure against that hand as the belly rises and falls. In this yin yoga practice, there are three principles that play. And that first principle is called finding that edge, finding your edge. So whenever we move into our posture, we do so where we don't force it. We stop as soon as we feel some level of resistance. It's neither too much and just enough. Also called that Goldilocks principle. So in this particular pose, we're feeling maybe some tension on that inner thigh or outer thigh. And if it's too much, That's where you would add some props. Slide something right underneath those knees or under the thighs for some support. The second principle in play is stillness. So becoming still in the physical body, calming the mental and emotional body, by focusing on what's happening now. Following the breath, tuning into the body and what it's feeling, where those sensations arise. And then that third principle, the final principle, the magic ingredient is time. So as we hold these poses for a little longer than you usually would, you'll get deeper and release any tightness in the more plastic tissues. So the joint capsules, the fascia that runs over all our muscles, the connective tissue. And when we do that, we allow chi or energy to move through the body. Any stagnation will be released, which will help us to renew our energy. So slowly, we are going to now bring our knees up, drawing the knees up into the chest and just pausing here. It's a nice long spine with the sacrum down. As you start to bring your knees out a little wider, so drawing them towards the armpits or the outer chest, that pelvis will begin to tilt. So this will be your first level of what's called happy baby. I can't speak today. Happy baby pose. Or if you'd like, you'll lift one foot, grabbing hold of that inner foot, and then the other, and just using the weight of the arms to draw the legs down to the outer torso. So this could be quite intense. If you'd like to do one leg or the other, or have the knees folded down, you certainly can. Another option is to bring the hands behind the thighs. So with this pose, we are targeting the inner thigh. You may feel some tension also on the outer thigh. Just do what we can to relax here. Arms behaving like weights, allowing the shoulders to drop down in towards your mat. Lengthening along the back of the neck. Let's relax the face. Relax the shoulders. Breathe into the sensations that you're feeling within the hip. Exhale, just let go of it. I'm going to hold here for a couple more breath cycles. Just Just relaxing deeper after each breath. Slowly release. We're going to draw one leg in and then the other. Bringing the legs back together, we can rock gently side to side. And then just drop the knees over to one side. We're going to set ourselves up by bringing our body onto all fours. So knees hip distance apart, hands shoulder width apart, spreading the fingers. I'm going to do a few easy cat-cows. So inhaling, drawing in the belly. Right here, sorry, inhaling, dropping the belly, lifting the chest. Exhaling, rounding out that spine, drawing in. Just easy, small waves. We do everything very gently and slowly in yin practice. And then to neutral. So what I'd like you to do now is take your right knee and bring it behind that right wrist. And we're going to bring that leg across. If you find that you have knee issues, keeping that heel closer to your groin is probably more suitable. We're going to extend that leg out if you'd like. You can crawl it back by tucking the toes under and relaxing. So we're setting up for swan. I want the hips kind of level, the back leg level with the hips. Now, if it's too much for you and you find that this hip is really hovering and it's needs some support, you can add a block underneath. And we'll just pause here in an upright swan. So lengthening through the spine, relaxing the shoulders back. As we exhale, letting that left hip sink a little deeper to the floor. Tuning into the sensations we're feeling on that right outer hip. And if you feel like you can go a little deeper in this pose, we're going to start to crawl onto the forearms, folding down. You can use a block as a prop to rest the head. Just give your body that time to build that trust relationship. This may be super intense for you. So relaxing into this pose is important, and we can do that step by step. Now do what you can to relax that back foot, the calf, the thigh. And as you feel your body begin to open up, you can continue to take it to the next edge. So if you'd like, you can even fold your arms over and rest the head right on the back of the arms. Maybe even, if you feel you can, removing any props. If your mind starts to wander,
Just notice it and bring your attention back. Back to the sensations. Inhaling into that space. Exhaling and softening. Now hold this for another minute. One more breath cycle here. On your next inhale, start to walk up onto the hands, lifting the chest. Tuck that back toe under, slide that knee forward to make some space. And then with some pressure into the hands and a little bit more energy, bring that leg back. Tuck that toe down and just roll out side to side. Whew. So it's pretty normal to feel a lot stiff at the end of each pose here, especially this one. So a few little hip circles, releasing and relaxing, and then coming to tabletop. So what we'll do now is we'll bring that knee again back into that same position, sit back, and what I'd like you to take is that lengthened leg and bring it around. So the one leg that was back is going to come in front, and we're going to stack the knees as much as we can so that they're aligned. Don't worry too much about getting a perfect stack, whatever works for you, however shape your body wants to go into. And you're going to give yourself a little bit of a hug and then lengthen out the top of the spine, rather the entire spine. So nice long spine and then rooted down. Nice, one big inhale and then exhale, release. Notice how you feel just a little bit more grounded. Now we're going to turn this into a twist. So grabbing the outside of that thigh, bringing the left hand behind us, sitting nice and tall. So instead of the arms doing the work here, let the breath do the work here. So we're not forcing into that twist. Rather, breathe into the back of the ribs. And as you exhale, you can begin to deepen that twist. So a long spine here, slightly tucking that chin back to keep a lengthened neck on top of that spine. As you breathe in, fill the chest, fill the ribs. And as you exhale, twisting back. So we're offering some compression here to the digestive organs. Also
we are opening up at the top of the liver meridian that crawls up the inner leg and up through to the ribs. Thirty more seconds here. And gently start to twist back. So now we're going to set up for the other side of our swan. So let's bring that leg back. Come onto the knees and onto all fours. So again, squaring the hips, keeping them even with the shoulder. Let's now draw that left knee up towards that left wrist. Again, whatever angle is more suitable for you for that knee in front. And then let's lengthen that leg behind us. If you need that little added support under the hip, you can always squeeze in even a blanket. If you don't want that, you just want a little bit of support, but not much. So even that leg with that hip here, making sure that both hips are level. Now let's stay up in high swan, up on the fingertips, shoulders and chin drawn back so that we're expanding across the collarbone. Inhaling, filling through the chest and the belly, and exhaling, sinking those hips deeper towards the mat. So we're quite active here through the upper body. Let's do what we can to really fully relax that lower body for that lengthened leg. Soften the bottoms of the feet, the calves, the thighs. Now we'll slowly make our way down. So coming down onto the forearms. Using your block, if you would like to rest the forehead. Feeling through the hips as they sink closer towards your leg or towards the mat. And just noticing the sensation right through that outer left hip. And on that outer thigh, we have the gallbladder meridian, and on the inner thigh, we have the liver meridian. So working along those meridian lines, we are helping to pass energy through to the liver and to the gallbladder organs, which are responsible for detoxifying in the body. They help us to digest our meals, and we tend to eat a little more over the winter period. So they work a little bit harder. If you feel that body opening up, maybe bringing your forehead right down to the mat or folding the arms across as a pillow and resting that forehead.
Gonna hold here for another minute. If the sensations ever get too much, feel free to come up to an upright swan, or you can even exit the pose. None of these poses, none of what you should be feeling should be sharp or tingling. If it is, that's a sign that something's not right, and just exit out of that pose. Muscle tension, shakiness within the muscle, that's normal. Just breathe and relax as much as you can. So we're slowly going to make our way up now. Coming up onto the hands, walking the hands back, lifting the chest. Let's tuck the toes under, slide that knee forward, pressing into the hands. Let's bring that leg back. Extending it fully, maybe rocking the heel out side to side. And then a few nice, easy hip circles. Now again, let's slide that knee in between the wrists. We're going to come down to seated, so that lengthened leg is going to come up on top. Line it up as much as possible. Shift your hips so that both your sit bones are settled. And then we can give ourselves a nice little squeeze to lengthen through that spine. And then just settle your shoulders back and down. Chin tucked back, long neck here. And then we'll work our way into that twist. So hand on the outer thigh, hand behind, and settle on the fingertips, wherever is accessible for you. And then again, we're not forcing with our arms. Rather, we're lifting through the spine as we inhale, filling the space through the back of the ribs. And then exhaling, just twisting ever so slightly with that breath. Let's complete one more breath cycle here. And we're going to slowly turn that head back and turn our body back. So now we're going to move into what's called a frog pose. So this can be quite intense for the inner thigh. So we're going to bring both legs back, and same thing here, onto all fours. Now you can choose to have both of the big toes together and start out this way, or we want that ankle in line with the knee, and then crawl out those knees as wide as you can. Now you may start nice and high here. If you've got a bolster or something, you can always put it under the chest to support, or blocks. And then we're going to come down on to the forearms. So this is going to be quite intense. Try to relax the feet. If you're finding it's too much on your inner thigh, you can shift your hips slightly forward, and that's going to help that. Or try to keep the hip in line with the knees, and you're going to feel a little more intensity. So make your adjustments. Find that edge, and then resolve to be still. If you've got blocks, you can rest your forehead onto the block. If it ever becomes too much to focus in on that inner thigh, bring your attention to the breath. Concentrate there, and then gently bring it back. Softening and releasing with each exhale. Depending on how tight you are here, you may be a little shaky. Again, small. Try to stay with it. Try to strive to be with that uncomfortableness. Using that breath to notice how it passes. The sensations change. You feel your body's opening up. You can even come down a little bit further, extending the arms out in front of you and relaxing through the back. You might need a cushion here. We're going to hold this pose for another minute. This can be a lot, so stay at the level that works for you. If your arms are fully extended, first come back to the forearms and pause. Slide your hips forward to release. Come onto your hands, lift, bring your feet together, and then inch the knees together. We're going to move into a child's pose, bringing the toes in, bringing the knees in, and then sliding your hips all the way back towards your heels, and just having the chest come on top of the thighs, relaxing hand over hand. Just bring the forehead. Now, if you would like a little bit of a wider pose, you can. Knees out, toes still touching. Following the breath along into the belly. Continue to settle that body back down. If you would like to get some stretch across the upper back, lengthening the arms behind you with the palms up. Just let the shoulders roll down. So you feel a nice stretch across that upper back. Just enjoy this protective and nourishing pose for another minute. To exit out of the pose, bringing our hands next to our chest, pressing into the floor and rolling our spine up. And then just sit back onto those heels, feeling a nice little stretch through the front of the ankle. And then we'll move into our final pose, Shavasana. So sliding the hips over to one side and lengthening out onto our back. Heels out to the corner edges of your mat once we lie down. Arms lengthen out, palms facing the ceiling. If you'd like to tuck your pelvis under to flatten out through the lower back, you can. And just fully relaxing into this pose. Just noticing how your body's feeling now. How much more calm and at peace you are. Letting go of any tension you're still holding on to. Relaxing through your feet, your legs, your thighs. Softening the hips and the belly. Really relaxing the shoulders. And the arms. Let go of the jaw and the tongue. Fully relax and release. Now slowly and steadily bring yourself back to conscious awareness. Some movement through the toes and the fingers. Sliding the feet closer to your body. Inhaling, bringing the arms up overhead. We're going to drop the knees over to one side and just stay here for a moment. Bringing ourselves up into a seated position. Hands to heart center. Bowing the head. Thank you everyone for joining me in this practice this morning. The sun is now shining through the window. We brought it on, I think. And now our insides match the sun on the outside. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Sunday. Namaste.